The new patch 7.0 is now live on the public test server for Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, and with it we get a lot of really awesome changes. In this video today, we're going to just quickly show off those changes and what they are like, aside from the new map and the Inferno pistol. We'll just be kind of quickly showing all this stuff from the menu. You can access the public test server by going into your Steam library and just typing in Space Marine 2 test, and you'll see it. It'll pop up. You just download it and you pop on in. And everything is fully unlocked, so you don't have to worry about grinding anything. Just go ahead and do it. But in my typical fashion of upfronting the knowledge of my videos, let me go through the big details of what has changed with patch 7.0. So now we're going to be access to PvE prestige ranks, which will basically give you 4 more slots of special talents that you unlock, and it will grant you special abilities that will then focus that specific class. For example, the Heavy has 4 prestige rank talent points, I guess you could say, that will then focus on more melee damage out of the Heavy. So you can be a heavy damage, melee damage dealer. Also a new map, Exfiltration. Weapon class restriction changes have happened. So pretty much every single class will get access to the heavy bolt pistol now. Assault gets the power sword. So a lot more weapon diversity has been added into the game, so more classes can access more things. This is a really nice change. Assault can also get access to the plasma pistol, which is cool. They've improved PvE matchmaking, which I unfortunately have not been able to take a look at because I have not done any matchmaking. Weapon perks have been reworked, so now they're specialized. So you can have it so that your bolt carbine can specialize in being a bolt carbine and an SMG and up close and personal with better ammo, reduced spread, and more damage. Or you can focus on the marksman variant of it, doing increased headshot damage. This is true for any weapon that really had a lackluster perk tree. Secondary weapon 2, the new one in the Inferno pistol has been added in. New cosmetics added for Space Wolves Chapter Pack and an Imperial Fists Champion Pack. So Champion Pack, remember, is just a single person for the tactical class. Space Wolves have their special champion in the Vanguard as additional chapters, symbology, as well as colors. And on the note of colors, we now get Vulpus Pink and Thousand Suns Blue added into the game. You can rework or rechange the cloth of the bulwark. And lastly, you can change the hands and the arms separately on the coloring of all of your Space Marines. But that's too long to watch this entire video. That's all you wanted to know. Please feel free to go ahead and shut the video down. You can also go ahead and download this, like I said, in your Steam library to check it out for yourself. But before you head out, if you enjoyed this video or if any of the information actually helped you out, please don't forget to do like, comment, or subscribe. And don't forget to check me out on Twitch, where I do stream this game and plenty of other ones. Well, let's get started here on all the big changes happening with patch 7.0. The first thing I want to talk about is the new, well, not perk tree as a whole, but the new addition of the prestige ranks. So now we have 4 prestige ranks for every single one of the classes. And prestige, if you don't know what it is, it's basically just like it was for maybe say like a Call of Duty, where you reach a certain level, you prestige, you wipe your character clean, and you go through these prestige ranks. And prestige class ranks here, I don't even think I can reset this. Choose a perk for prestige slot 1. So now you have these prestige slots, and you upgrade them at prestige ranks 2 and so on and so forth. So this one here is your prestige slot 1. So boosted recharge, collecting an armor boost restores ability charge by 25%. While performing a gun strike, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. Or perfect parry and perfect block windows increased by 25%. Let's go ahead and select that one. So now our slot 2 is open. We got these 2 from the previous slot, and now we have access to further slots. Prestige Fortitude for health increased by 15%. If you are surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you take 20% less damage from ranged attacks, and then ranged damage increased by 20%. Reviving a squad member fully restores jump packs, charges, and all armor segments. Let's go ahead and take that one. Let's just rank for slot 3 and for slot 4. So, although you won't lose any class progress, you will need to pay a significant price of 900. Yes, well, done. And you can see here, these will continue to unlock, and this looks like a bug. This should all be unlocked, right? Because we just chose 4 of them all at once. But as you push through these prestige ranks, you'll add more in. And it looks like there is a pool of common prestige ranks, and then there is a pool of class specific. So it says prestige class perk, prestige class perk. So a lot of these, it looks like, we reset this. Oh, they're all different. Okay, I'm sorry. I looked at 2 classes that had 2 of the exact same, so I figured, oh, maybe there's a pool. So in this case here, Acuity for the tactical, each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 2%. Ammo reserve increased by 10%. If no enemy has been scanned by the time the Auspex scan zone disappears, Auspex scan's charge is restored, which I absolutely love. The amount of times I have missed my Auspex scan as a tactical because I thought I was going to go off faster than when I went to initialize it is just so annoying. So this allows to mitigate that frustration. Collecting an ammo box restores ability charge. Medicae stands restore 25% more health. When your health is less than 50%, you take 15% less health damage. And exigency charge, man, I read that out so wrong. When your health is less than 25%, ability charge regenerates 15% faster. Let's go over to another class here for Vanguard. And we'll press that. So battlefield awareness, if a target is within 8 meters, you deal 20% more range damage, which I think that's a really cool mechanic since the Vanguard is so up close and personal. When your health is less than 25%, ability charge regenerates 15% faster. So this is one that is shared, right? Indomitable Spirit is another one that was shared with Assault. While performing a gun strike, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. Fortitude is another one that was shared with Assault. Health increased by 15%. Launch Restoration, using the grapnel launcher restores 1 armor segment, which is really cool. Restoration here, killing 10 enemies in rapid succession restores 1 armor segment as well. And equipment damage increased by 20%. So you can see the Vanguard, in conjunction with this, melee kills of Majoris, level or higher enemies restore health by 5%. The Vanguard, with these prestige perks, I think is just going to be the absolute king of soloing, because now you have so many ways to reliably replenish your armor, and on top of this perk, your health can restore as well. It's just going to be really disgusting what the Vanguard can get up to with all these perks put together. Into our bulwark here, let's go to that reset. We have melee kills of extremist level or higher restore your secondary weapons ammo by 1 magazine. So it just helps you kind of stay topped off with your ammunition. 25% more health restored from Medicae. This is, again, one that was shared with the tactical. Charged attack damage increases by 20%, making you a little bit more furious in melee combat. Powerful shot, range damage increased by 20%, which is another one we had with tactical. Ability recharge or charge is restored by 1% for every blocked ranged attack, which is super awesome. You will be able to drop that banner like no one's business. After activating Chapter Banner, you become invulnerable for 2 seconds. Using these two in conjunction, I could see this being really awesome as a clutch way to keep yourself invulnerable by constantly blocking shots, dropping a banner, blocking shots, dropping a banner, rinse and repeat. Chapter Banner additionally removes negative status effects while active. This could probably be helpful in some of the newer maps that do give persistent negative status effects via the just nature of the map. So it could be interesting to see how Rally Point works. At first blush, it doesn't look like the best one to me. Jumping into the sniper here, we have Emperor's Grace. When Camo Cloak activates, you become invulnerable to damage for 2 seconds, which is interesting because it already is an aggro dropping capability, so you don't necessarily get more damage dealt to you unless it's AoE, but neither here nor there. Secondary weapon spread is reduced by 25%. Collecting an armor boost restores ability charge by 10%, which is fun. After switching weapons, your secondary weapon does 20% more damage. The effect lasts until reloading or switching back to your primary. So this could be pretty cool. Especially if you're doing any kind of melee build. After a perfectly timed parry or dodge, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 15 seconds. You can couple this too with the is the Camel Cloak one for armor? I think it's just a health one. I thought there was one for, I know there's one for health, but I didn't know if there's one for armor as well. I can't remember. After a gun strike, you deal 20% more range damage for 10 seconds, which is, that's going to be really, really, really gnarly on the sniper, being able to really have a lot of fun with that one. Heavy here for their perk trees really quickly. Overcharged attacks now damage increased by 25%. So your slams now have a 25% increase to the damage, because charging them doesn't need to be charged up all the way. You just simply do a little bit of a charge and it will drop that boot. Melee kills of extremist level or higher will help you give a secondary weapon ammo restoration of 1 for a magazine. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage. Melee damage increased by 100%. Dude, you can make yourself a heavy melee character now with these prestige ranks. While performing melee attacks, you take 20... Dude, you can absolutely make yourself a melee heavy right now. Activating Iron Halo removes negative status effects. I'm sorry, I didn't finish saying this. While performing melee attacks, you take 25% less health damage. Health damage specifically. Perseverance, while performing charge attacks, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits and you cannot be knocked back. That's pretty... I mean, those are pretty awesome. Like, if you took these four... Because one of the worst things about playing heavy is when things get up into that backline into your cookie jar, you're going to be using those big ground stomps to clear things around you. You just spam the ground stomps and you clear things around you. But having those ground stomps actually do good damage with these two, or actually prevent you from taking any kind of critical health loss over here, or making it so you can't get knocked over, that's really nice to be able to have a lot of fun with those. And then you can mix any one of these other ones in as you see fit. But making a melee heavy is a really cool option. So these are your prestige ranks, or perks, I'm sorry. Let's go into a conversation now about some weapon swapping before we talk about weapon perks. Now, just to quickly buzz through this, because we're going to go into the perk section, almost all the classes have had their weapon selection changes, and it's not major, it's more minor, right? Tactical can now get access to the combat knife. But conversely too, they now have access to the heavy bolt pistol. Most everyone now gets access to the heavy bolt pistol. Their weapons, though, are by and large the same. I see no difference here. Assault, they now get access to the plasma pistol, which is cool. They always had the Neo-Volkite, the bolt, and the heavy bolt. And for their weapon here, they now get access to the power sword, which is also really spiffy. Do like that addition. For the Vanguard, we're going to be getting access to the heavy bolt pistol as well. Again, I think everyone now gets access to the heavy bolt pistol. But Neo-Volkite Infernal pistol, Infernal being the newest one. No change here to the melee, and no change here to their primary. Primary already is a pretty good kit for the Vanguard. For the Bulwark, they're going to get access to, you guessed it, the heavy bolt pistol. And then for their melee, nothing new. For the Sniper, they're going to get access to, you know what? If you thought it was going to be the heavy bolt pistol, you would be absolutely correct. No change here as well for their melee, and no change here for their primary accompaniment. Yeah, just making sure. And then for the heavy, they get access now to the heavy bolt rifle, which is something that I don't think anyone ever wanted. And now you get access to the, heavy bolt pistol. I know we all thought, we didn't know what it would be. It's the heavy bolt pistol. I just shit on the heavy bolt rifle. I actually very much like the heavy bolt rifle. It's really good. I just would never want to choose thematically, because it is one of my favorite weapons in the entire universe, a heavy bolt rifle over a heavy bolter. It's just such a cool damn weapon. So now let's go into some of those weapon perk changes. So for weapon perks, I'm not going to go through every single little one and show off every little different weapon perk. Just simply download the test server if you want to do that. But what I like about what changed with the weapon perks is now there's a clear-cut idea of where the perks are being attributed towards what the weapon can do. So for example, we have the bolt carbine. I think this is one of the best examples of how the new perk system is going to work. We have this bolt carbine. For all intents and purposes, it's an SMG. You run up and close and personal and unload it in someone's face. But you also have the DMR version, the dedicated marksman rifle version, well, marksman carbine, right? Version of the bolt carbine that is single shot. It is not an automatic weapon, and you're just dumping single bullets into things, right? Very similar to what you get with a stalker bolt rifle. So let's look at the perk tree now. This top line is a headshot damage. This is when your health is below 30%, killing enemies in rapid succession restores health by 10%. A lot of those styles of perks have been changed. And I don't think I have any examples in this one. It's going to be different in one of the other carbines. But no longer do you have to do a bunch of stuff like, okay, usually the requests for killing things within a certain number or amount of time is usually just a really exorbitant number. It's not like that anymore. But so when your health is below 30%, 10 enemies in rapid succession restores 10% health. So that's a pretty significant benefit. So 10 enemies is not the easiest, especially with a bolt carbine, but 10 enemies of chaff can be easily done. Well, easier to be done than, say, a Majoris. But the reward is significant. 10% health is a good amount of health. Max spread decrease, damage increase, headshot damage, penetration, headshot damage. So this top line, without even having to complete this, you can tell now is dedicated to the marksman version of the bolt carbine versus the bottom line here. Damage increase, deal more damage after a perfectly timed dodge, recoil reduction after reloading with low ammo, which you will be low on ammo because you're using a bolt carbine, damage increased by 25%, magazine increase, ammo reserve increase, damage increase. When your health drops below 30, your ammo reserve is restored by a full mag, recoil reduction. So all the things that I would want on using a high rate of fire, high ammo consumption, high spread SMG are all prevalent in this bottom line. It's really nice how they bifurcated these perk trees to actually fit with the different roles or the different methods of using that weapon, which I really like. Recoupment is one I think we'll talk on another one. Yeah, okay, cool. Good, this is the one I want to talk about. So Instigator Bolt Carbine, unfortunately, both the Instigator and the Oculus Bolt Carbine suffered from having terrible perk trees. Instigator Bolt Carbine, in my opinion, is a better bolt carbine. It performs better damage. It's 3-round burst. Those coming from like a Destiny, it acts more like a pulse rifle. It's very fun. I like it a lot. But now with the new system, this is another good example of, hey, I can focus on headshot damage. Headshot damage after reloading here. After reloading with low ammo, headshots increased by 35%, a very significant number here. Weapon reloads faster. After a finisher, the equipped weapon instantly reloads. A lot of the times this would say your secondary reloads. No, it's this weapon reloads. And when I'm playing Vanguard, I'm going to be doing finishers left and right, especially since I can grapple to start a finisher if I have that perk set up. This is a new one that's a really nice change, because this perk before would say if you kill, I don't know if it said Majoris, but it said if you kill an enemy, your armor recovers 0.5 seconds faster, which is not great because it's not my armor regenerating that I cared about. It was my armor presence, period. So now killing a Majoris level or higher with a headshot with this weapon restores 1 armor segment. That's a seriously awesome benefit. So if something's in execute, I can just go ahead and kill it with a headshot with this thing and get a free armor segment if I can't close the gap. I'm a Vanguard, I probably should be able to close the gap, but still my point remains. Also, we have this now for tactical precision. Tactical precision in the past, or at least this perk in the past, was just a flat bonus to the headshot damage. Now, headshots deal 20 more damage, flat 20, not percentage 20. Non-headshot damage is decreased by 10. So body shots are not as good, but you're still doing a significant amount of damage. And the nice thing here is this is optional. You know, you don't have to choose it. If you're like, you know what, I'm just not good at headshots and I don't want that penalization towards general body shots or limb shots, you don't need to do it. You can just simply go ahead over here to just take 10% more headshot damage. Or this one, killing 10 enemies rapid succession restores 10% health, as we all know. Penetration. I don't know why I paused when I said penetration. And this is, you know, killing enemies with headshots. The bottom stuff here now is focused more on magazine reserve, staying topped off, general increase to damage. So not so much to headshots in specific, but increasing that ammo reserve, increasing your damage towards certain enemies. Shots will penetrate enemy block stances, reducing like I'm Sean Connery, reducing your spread. And then also at the end here, you can see the difference between these two perks. This and this are by and large the same, but this is after killing a Majoris level or a higher enemy with a melee weapon, headshots deal 20% more damage. After killing a Majoris level or a higher enemy in melee combat, you deal 25% more damage, period. So, this is, it just kind of like gets you to choose, like, how are you playing with these weapons? How do you, what do you want after it, out of it? So I like that they've chosen a perk tree setup for this that is a little bit more conducive to style of play and then tries to bolster that style of play. So we talked about recoupment. That's a new one that's been swapped in. This is another new one. After using a class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. Class ability for your Instigator, right, is your grapnel launcher, so we'll be using that quite a little bit. This makes it seem like I might like the Oculus Bolt Carbine. I have to test it to see if I really do. Remote threat here, enemies at a distance. Oops, what the hell? at a distance of more than 25 meters take 20% more damage, which is something that we see a lot on a lot of these perk trees. So if I go ahead and take a look at this one, for example, with the heavy bolt pistol, it's right there as well. Enemies at a distance of more than 25 meters take 20% more damage. This is great for anyone playing assault and they just feel like they just don't do much damage outside of a good range. You now get the ability to do so. So that's some of the big changes to these perk trees. Again, all of them are a little different. Well, I'm sorry, not all of them are a little different. The ones that needed it are different. Like the heavy bolter is, by looking at the wiki and comparing it at the same time, it was perk by perk the same, and it didn't need much love. So you can see that this is all going to depend upon how you want to play, what weapon you want to pull out of that play style. And now those perk trees match that, which I absolutely love. So go ahead and jump on the test server, take a look at your favorite weapon and see how the perks have changed or if they've changed for the better. Now, as far as the big cosmetic changes that are happening, we know that we'll be getting a Imperial Fist Champion as well as a Space Wolf DLC pack. So just to kind of quickly show that off here, here's your Space Wolf. I can't even click on this. It just tells me to get the DLC, but I can press this. You can preview it. Space Wolf's looking pretty sick. I do like the choice of Vanguard. For those that know the older lore for Space Wolves, and I don't know how it's changed over time, but it used to be that Space Wolves were the only chapter that actually put their veterans into the scout squads. So it actually makes a lot of sense to have a really cool Vanguard here for our Space Wolf. Crazy choice on the helmet, really nice. The old, like first or second edition Space Wolf catalog used to have a helmet just like this, and it was marked as Lehman Russ. I still have that catalog because I'm old as paint. Now for our tactical, we will go over here to our Imperial Fists Champion, which is a great choice for a tactical. Real nice look here all the way around. And I like that now that we're getting into a lot of these champions, they're like very unique, right? Like our Salamander's champion was already pretty unique, but it's a sniper, so we just kind of had a different cloak, right? But this is a very super awesome, unique champion. I still would really love to be able to just take the individual pieces of this and run wild with it. I know that they don't want to do that for whatever reason, but it'd be cool to take like these greaves or just this pauldron and have a lot of fun. But this is just an absolute ace looking Imperial Fist there. Chapter Master Valrock would be proud for sure. In addition to that, we have armor, some of the new DLC stuff. There's no new helmets here. That's just one of the ones you can get from previously, but you have the DLC pauldron here for the Space Wolves, which is pretty sick. And I can't show off, unfortunately, the heraldry for the Space Wolves. Actually, I believe I can. Maybe we'll take a look here. The chest piece here is for the Space Wolves. No backpack. We do have a single... This isn't part of that. A single greave. Those are gauntlets. That's the one for the Space Wolves, as you can see, with runes on it and a wolf's paw. But pretty straightforward with that. You do have this for all of the Space Wolf colors. Space Wolf colors are not the most inventive colors. This is pretty much just the different, not chapters, but great wolves that have access to the Space Wolves. So you can see it's really like that is the heraldry of Lehman Russ, that rampant wolf on a star right there. So it's like they just pretty much went with the great wolves because the great wolves don't have the old lore was they don't have successor chapters, but it's very recently become a thing that like, oh, they kind of have successor chapters. Like this is Ragnar Blackmane's Space Wolf, or as a great wolf, this is his I keep wanting to say chapter, and that is not it, but his great company. Aha, that is it. This is great company. So you've got that for the Space Wolves, just pretty much different heraldry as it pertains to the respective great wolf that is in charge of, or wolf lord, sorry, wolf lord. Great wolf is in charge of the entire chapter. The wolf lord that is in charge of each of the great companies. Man, that old lore of the Space Wolves really coming in clutch right there. But the biggest thing for a lot of people is that bulwark. You can see that you can now change the cloth. In order to change it, you go and edit the breastplate. You can see right here, you click that and you can edit breastplate. And that's it. It just says cloth right there. So I thought that was going to be like different ways to do like different sections of the cloth, but you're limited to in the amount of colors that you can do, which I think is pretty fine, right? Like a lot of this covers the gamut of cloth colors that I would want. There's no metallic colors on here, but again, that's just fine. So we're going to be able to see a lot of really fun customization with this, I think, because this really opens the door to a lot of different variety. And you would think that just simply changing the cloth wouldn't, but there are a lot of there's the successor chapter of the Dark Angels that has like green cloth, and boom, there you go. Now you can actually have that look to it, or maybe it's the black cloth, I can't remember, but either way, you can have a lot more fun with this rather than just simply this typical not even a wraith bone by default, is it? Well, the typical color that it is by default. So you can have a lot more to choose from here. Really great choices here with your cosmetics. Now let's go into some other details. And actually, there's a couple more cosmetics I forgot to show off, like this helmet here for the Space Wolves, and some armor or weapon skins, which totally escaped my brain. We'll go over here into the bolt carbine. We'll get one for the Space Wolves, which is pretty sick here. We have another one, oops, for specifically the plasma incinerator, not the heavy plasma incinerator for the Imperial Guard. Nope. Imperial Fists. God, I wish they'd given us one for the Crimson Fists, for the Power Fists, but they, alas, they did not. And if we come over here to the Chain Sword, we get a real good one here for the Space Wolves. We got one other weapon to show you too. That looks so good. Considering that I use Vanguard and Assault a lot, it's nice to see that we'll be getting also a new hammer for the Space Wolves, which is fitting. Be cool to be an axe. It'd be cool if we got ourselves like a frost axe. Does 10th edition Space Wolves have frost axes anymore? Is that a thing? Did they lose those things? They're so cool. Are they just models now? They don't actually have special rules? They're really cool. But here you go. Here you go. Those are all of the little pieces that I forgot to show off here. I went through pretty much everything, and I completely forgot about that in my excitement of showing stuff off. And you know, there hopefully will be some stuff that launches with this patch 7 that kind of coincides with it. Like, hey, you know what? Like those ones that they do where it's like just go and do 5 missions and you unlock this cosmetic, or maybe some Twitch drops, whatever it is. I lied, there are no other details. I filmed this video in reverse. So we are at an end. We've seen everything that this patch has to offer, and there's a lot of exciting things. I have not gone into, obviously, what the Inferno Pistol looks like and how that new map plays. I'll be doing that on stream and what have you. But I'm really excited for this patch. I think it's a really cool step in a good direction, because the PvM portion of the game with operations had reached a point where people were maxing out their characters and they just needed a little bit, or ways to push characters in specialized directions. And I think that's what's fun about what we're going to be getting across the new weapon perks, the prestiges, and what have you, so that our actual focus as specialists in a specific class, look at this fucking gilded armor, specialists in specific classes feels more specialized. You know, like I love playing with my Thunderhammer, and only my Thunderhammer when I'm playing on my Assault. So now I can take advantage of that. Or you know what, if you're playing a heavy, maybe you want to become a melee heavy, you've now got that option. Or playing with a Vanguard, maybe you want to be a more melee-centric bolt carbine user versus a more ranged bolt marksman carbine user. I like that now you can make those choices as a player, and the game gives you the player agency to reward you for that. That's my biggest takeaway from this patch. Now, what it all feels like once I actually get my hands on and play a little bit more with Indie Pride and some of my other bros in this, that's all to be said. That'll all kind of like shake out as it does. But the point of this video was just to show off what is coming. Very excited about it. And they have said too that there is no change to their development plans for Space Marine 2. It has multiple years of support ahead. I think in my coverage of Space Marine 3, I said it might take like 2 to 3 years. If it took 2 to 3 years and they were able to roll out what they've rolled out for this game as is with no change, I would see no problem at all. Because it's going to hit a point where it's like, oh, okay, well, we've reached the max of what we can roll out. My biggest question though is everything you've rolled out for Space Marine 2 going to just translate into Space Marine 3 in the sense that you're going to roll all of it in and then do new stuff for Space Marine 3? Because that's going to be the biggest like point of contention. We already had the Space Wolf DLC packs in Space Marine 1, but that's fine. It's such an old game. if I have to deal with the Space Marine or Space Wolf DLC pack in Space Marine 3, that's just going to be frustrating. You've already done that. Choose another chapter at that point, whatever it is. And maybe that's our plan. That's why it's like, okay, we did the Salamanders as a sniper because in Space Marine 3, we're going to do Salamanders as a heavy or Salamanders as a tactical, or whatever it is. So we'll have to see how that all makes its way into the game, into the future and what have you. But very excited for this patch coming out here. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. Have you played the public test? Do you like the new map? Do you hate the Infernal Pistol? Why does everyone hate on the Space Wolves? I love them. Either way, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.